Our kingdom is infested with frogs. Come and find out.
She also might have some odd relationship with your mother.
Banged your mom?
Well, I mean, that doesn't seem too out of the ordinary. I mean, VTubers are pretty silly like that. They do like to make jokes like that, you know, it's all part of the normal thing.
With this statement, we wish to inform you of the strict prohibition on the creation or dissemination of explicit content or fan art related to Nophilia Amélie de Montclair, Nophi, as she is identified as a minor in the majority of jurisdictions worldwide.
Oh boy, this is gonna be a divisive video. Hi-yo out there to all my big brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, and of course, mommies, daddies, siblings, and guardians. It's me, your bite-sized baddie and favorite little brother Mark. Before we get too far into the video, have you ever wanted a live 2D model? I have a giveaway going on my Twitter right now, or app formerly known as Twitter. Go check it out! Recently, a VTuber corporation called Akio Air came out with a new generation of talents. That on its own is not strange, and their promotional images had a fairly usual amount of joking around, including a Technoblade reference? Okay, but otherwise, had the usual bit of silly degenerate joking. A lot of VTubers in the English-speaking corposphere especially are, how shall I say, pretty freaking horny, which shouldn't be an issue, you know? We're all adults here. Akio Air even had their auditions listed as 18+, so any talent joining them should be able to make those jokes, and they should be able to joke about the talents in that way without any worry. Sex sells and all that. There was one teeny tiny issue that cropped up over the week of September 3rd though, and that teeny tiny issue comes in the form of their talent, Princess Nophi, being a child. Or, at the very least, a minor. After hearing about that on the 6th, which mind you was days after Nophi's Twitter was live and she was interacting with 18+ accounts, a lot of people are rightfully balding about this. You let a kid get through an 18+ audition? One of the first things you do to promote her before ever admitting she's a minor is say that she's banging your mom? That's nuts, dude. Now, some of my younger viewers who come in might be asking why that's an issue, though. Heck, some of my older viewers might not know why this could be a problem. So, let's go down a small list of why I personally think that this is not the best move. It shows that the corporation has little to no integrity. Keeping this point short and simple, they went back on their own rules, showing that they are disorganized at best and willing to break rules and play favorites at worst. This is putting a child on a platter to be preyed on. Saying don't lewd her is only gonna bring more freaks who want to commit Rule 34's attention. She's quite literally, as all other VTubers are, being displayed as a show pig for everyone to enjoy. Sure, saying don't do lewds is probably only there for legal reasons so that they can say, but we said not to, when it inevitably becomes an issue, but it otherwise does nothing to help their talent. A corporation only has a certain amount of money that they can commit to DMCA takedowns over using a character, and unless you live in the United States where illustrated NSFW of children or characters that look like children is prohibited, the law isn't really gonna help you. Platforming a dumb kid who makes dumb choices. I'm glad most of my teenage years aren't chronicled online. This girl will, unfortunately, have hers very chronicled if the corporation doesn't drop her. She has already, before even debuting, made a joke about slavery that many VTubers of color have called out, and I'm sure she's gonna say more heinous shit as time goes by, as chronically online kids are wont to do. I never went through an edgy, I'm gonna say slurs and be racist on purpose phase, and I'm not saying that she will either, but I did say and do a lot of shit that I legitimately didn't know was bad. Having a 25-year-old woman write a call-out post about me on Tumblr.com for saying a word derived from the G-slur that was very woven into the country's vernacular was stressful for me as a 15-year-old who didn't know how to handle confrontation. And while a corpo VTuber will likely have a PR team to help her manage these incidents, I can only imagine that they're going to get a workout dealing with a child. Shit, many agencies' PR teams get a workout with their adult talents running their mouths already, so I can hardly imagine how it'll be. It's possible that Nophi didn't make the connection that joking about slavery could be racist because she's a dumbass kid. But that doesn't mean it's alright to do that or any other misdeeds out of ignorance. This leads me to our next point. Kids don't have good cause and effect connections in their brain. Adults are better at following mental scripts of what's okay to say and talk about, but kids don't have that experience. I'm so worried that this girl is gonna dox herself with information that she doesn't even know is dangerous to share. Like, I know that I can't talk about plans I have to go out and do something online because common sense tells me if I say I'm gonna go out to X place at Y time to meet up with a friend, anyone listening would be able to find me. But do I think a kid will think that far ahead? Absolutely not. I expect kids and teens to be excited about their activities and talk first without thinking it through. I can only hope that Akio has a good handle on her to keep her from saying, like, the names of restaurants and cafes, or saying the names of her school. She's already been posting pictures of region-specific snacks on her Twitter though, so I'm not exceedingly hopeful. You cannot curate her experience to a safe level. While you can have moderators keeping chat clean out the wazoo, I really don't think that there'll be a way to shield her from everything that a child should be kept away from. IRL child actors at least have agents and their parents to keep them slightly safer while working. Though, as we know from being on any Nickelodeon set, even that only goes so far. With VTubing, there are even fewer layers of separation from the talent and the fans or haters watching at home. A chat can be policed heavily, but comments that no child should see will definitely make it through. The only way to keep her from seeing such things would be to have someone else running her social media accounts and not letting her read anything about them, which we know at the moment isn't happening, and to not let her read chat, which isn't sustainable as a streamer. That little girl, whether she's 15 or 17, is going to inevitably be exposed to heinous content vis-a-vis hate, sexually explicit messages, or seemingly innocuous things she won't even know are bad until she reads them back to chat. Putting a kid on display will attract a lot of unsavory people inevitably. Nophi's follow count spiked after it came out that she was a minor. I'm sure some of those are other children who see her as an inspiration, but a lot of them are adults. Like, with the Nophilia tag on her profile, it's obvious who they're trying to market to as well. We can sit here and Jenny Nicholson argue that, oh, philia only means love, but being that she's leaning into the hee-hee so-say-so no lewd please, it just gives me the ick. Especially when her profile allegedly said nothing about her age or not wanting to interact with NSFW content before the agency revealed that she's a minor. It's dangerous for her to be in this position where she's going to be idolized and oogled by adults and will likely lead to her being groomed into certain behaviors. While I try to keep my content fairly PG-14 since apparently you get to say the fuck word in PG-14 shows if they're not done in a sexual context. Hell yeah, Fiona and Cake. I know that a lot of other VTubers and content creators don't. And this includes kids. I was a teen once too, and I also made my fair share of inappropriate jokes at the time. I'm not dumb enough to sit here and try and argue that all kids are pure beings who have never heard a dick joke until they miraculously metamorphose at age 18. But as someone who was a teenager once, I know that certain environments aren't healthy for kids. The issue that I ran into was that I was in a friend group of all adults and was only really taken seriously when I participated in adult read NSFW conversations. I got used for NSFW roleplays because I was desperate to be liked by these people I thought were my friends. I started making really cringy NSFW jokes with myself as the punchline because it made the 20-somethings I was around laugh. The 20-somethings made sex jokes about my 16 and 17-year-old self when I didn't know what most of what they were talking about even meant. And I never understood why they scolded me for making the same jokes during recorded videos or podcasts when they were fine with and even encouraged them in private. Looking back at that time in my life now as a mid-20s-year-old person, I can't imagine treating a kid like that, even if not grooming me into being a sexual partner. No, about that, things did escalate against my will when I was 19 and got to meet up with certain members who encouraged my child self to talk sexually and who shared NSFW content with me in person, but that's all I'll say about that. But even if not trying to turn me into a partner, I was being groomed to see these behaviors around kids as okay, as normal. When I suddenly became an adult, but continued making these jokes, I realized that what happened was fucked up, and that I needed to not continue that cycle. I'm glad that I did realize it because I didn't get the chance to pass my trauma on to another generation in a hurt people sort of way. But to this day, it still grinds my gears a bit. Why was it okay for you to make fellatio jokes about me at 16, but not okay for me to make a yo mama joke about your sister when we were all in call together? Why? Because you didn't care enough to be appropriate around a random child who was mimicking your behaviors to fit in, where it's harder to ignore the fact that your sister is a child. With this VTuber who is being emboldened at every step, I feel that she's going to go through the exact same thing. But she won't have the chance to learn that this behavior of putting a kid into inappropriate situations is bad. If she stays in the kind of Coomer-esque environment of VTuber Twitter and the Ian Corpo space, she's definitely going to pick up some bad habits at the very least. With all that being said, do I think that no child belongs in the VTuber community at all? That's a tough question. I think that children being content creators is always a gamble online. I've seen so many kids who were awesome artists just have to leave the internet because they got too popular too fast, and they didn't know how to handle it. I know that there are kids out there watching VTubers, and I know that a lot of streamers don't really want to curate an audience that's safe for kids. It's hard to do that, and I know most people want to come online into their adult spaces and just be as raunchy as they want, and there is nothing wrong with that. Please, don't go in the opposite. Everything has to be pristine and SFW online for the children route that I've seen some people venturing down. In the end, kids watching really need to have their experiences aided by their parents or other trusted grown-ups. There are plenty of legitimately say-so VTubers out there who are appropriate for kids. Watch their content together and bond over it, you know? Kids don't seek out content that is marked as 18+. Adults don't interact with people who are kids. It's that simple. Literally, please, just don't be a freak. When it comes to streaming especially though, I think that there could possibly be a way for a corporation to have a child VTuber and cause as little harm as possible. I can't say and keep them entirely safe because the internet is inherently a dangerous place. Raise your hand if you're in the I saw that one video of a guy being beheaded in 2010 club. But I don't think this corporation is gonna be the one to achieve that safe as possible status. Between Akio Air being an 18+ corporation who made an exception for a child, to them already sexualizing her for the funny ha-has, I don't have a lot of hope that it'll go well. In general, I don't think that kids should become streamers or the face of content creation as a whole. There's so many more cons than pros for their mental health and safety. But with that being said, I do think teens should be able to follow their dreams and passions. And I think that if they're able to curate their space and have a good enough support system, then they can do it as safely as possible. Honestly, I think that this tweet that I saw from DreamyTube says it best. I feel like the VTuber community has got to learn nuance. Lewdtubers and minors can exist in the community. Of course not together, but both groups shouldn't be told to basically get out of it when the issue at the end of the day is boundaries not being reinforced. I'm just tired of people shaming sex workers and people using the issue as an excuse to be vile towards minors. I'm not excusing the slavery joke, obviously. I've just been seeing people beforehand using their dislike of kids to just be plain mean to them for no reason. I know it's been said a lot beforehand, but I'm gonna take this out of the drafts because I'm now seeing so much shit outside my space of people being mean to sex workers because of this. Nuance, folks. Nuance. Minors can be in the VTuber space as long as they set and maintain proper boundaries, as well as if they respect the boundaries set by others. The same goes for lewdtubers and lewd enjoyers. It is pretty disheartening to go into this child's follower list and see people with minor DNI in their bio following, or even to see users with straight up fetish material as their pinned post, you know? 18 plus DNI tags are a two-way street. I know that the dangers probably won't stop a corporation from doing this. And heck, depending on Nophi's success, it may even embolden other corporations to take in minor talents. But, man, at least if minors become indie VTubers, they're more likely to have a smaller audience. Fucking up when you only have an audience of 20 to 50 is so much better than fucking up with hundreds to thousands of people watching simply because you're from a corporation. I have no clue what Nophi's adults are thinking here. They either don't know in depth what streaming is all about, or they're being a bit negligent, in my opinion. To be honest, I feel like this whole situation probably came from the kid applying and getting accepted, lying about her age in interviews, and probably getting all the way through to contracts and models being created for her before having to come clean when she legally couldn't sign for herself. But who fucking knows? We'll just have to wait and see what comes from this whole situation. Boo-ba-doo-boo-boo-boo-boo-boo-boo, breaking news update. So, as I was recording this script, I saw that Akio Air posted another statement on this situation regarding Nophi's age and certain concerns. Let's read it together, shall we? We would like to express our gratitude to everyone for the valuable feedback and comments received during our previous notice regarding Nophi. In response, we are committed to providing further details to enhance transparency in our actions. First and foremost, we acknowledge that we should have taken proactive steps to provide greater protection for Nophi's Twitter account from the outset. To address this, we have implemented the following policies. Our management team will now oversee Nophi's Twitter account temporarily before relaying any information to her. Any comments, regardless of intent, that could be construed as attacks, harassment, or those we believe would make Nophi highly uncomfortable, will be moderated through pruning, hiding, and blocking for Nophi's well-being. Due to the extensive scrutiny and potential misinterpretation of tweets, likes, and comments, Nophi's Twitter account will now serve exclusively for official announcements and will not be used for personal commentary at this time. Furthermore, we would like to apologize for any delay in addressing rumors. We want to inform you, with Nophi and her legal guardian's external expression, that she will be receiving her legal majority status next year. While we have recognized her legal and cultural eligibility to make decisions, exercise civil rights, and participate in elections, which may be acceptable for individuals aged 18 and older in other regions, we had initially declared her as a minor. This was due to the interest of maintaining transparency on this matter. Regarding harassment directed towards our talents, during our audition process, we enlist external members to assist in evaluating the audition applications. We wish to emphasize that none of our onboarding talents participated in the decision-making process concerning the recruitment of other talents. The responsibility for evaluating Nophi's abilities and bringing her on board lies solely with our management team. Our talents were not involved in this process, nor were they aware of any decision-making aspects or consulted on Akio Air's choices of talent. We kindly request that any concerns or feedback related to our decision to include Nophi not be directed towards our talents. They are not involved in her recruitment or in our contractual relationship with her. Instead, if you have feedback, please direct your communications to management, mgnt@akioair.com, rather than harassing our talents, and we will address it through the appropriate channels. Akio Air Management, September 9th. So, we're calling the slavery comment misinterpretation of tweets, and we're gonna just glaze over the fact that the other talents in her generation are making kind of lewd comments to her already via Twitter. Cool. Love to see it. This doesn't really change any of my above points, but what do you think? The damage of her making those jokes and interacting with NSFW accounts has already been done, but hopefully this means she'll be exposed to less danger, with her basically being grounded from the app formerly known as Twitter. I hope above all else that she is kept safe and isn't exposed to undue amounts of degeneracy. I pray that her employers take care of her, but as a kid who got groomed at her age when I joined a small-time voice acting group, I can already see a lot of my past in her future. Stay safe out there and make good choices, okay?
Editing me coming in to say that some other very unfortunate and serious allegations surrounding Akio's CEO Jason have come out as well. While I do not feel comfortable discussing them here since they have not been proven one way or the other, you can look it up for yourself by going to the hidden replies on Akio's newest post concerning Nophi.
Thank you so much for getting to the end of the video, and thank you to my wondabulacious Patreon supporters. At our brother, sibling, sister tier, we have Viri, Miss Mercurial, Vlad, and Minnow VTuber. At our mommies, daddies, and guardians tier, we have Mary and Isabel Marks. Thank you, mommies. And at our gods, goddesses, and deities tier, we have Sonic Star 21 and Agent Ness. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. I should have your Patreon merchandise out to you very soon. My mailers finally came. Just a reminder, I have a giveaway going on Twitter right now. If you want to have the chance of getting a live 2D model made by myself, feel free to enter. It's free, and everyone who enters automatically gets a 15% off coupon for any future commission. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want. As always, you don't have to, but if you do, I'll get to see you in the next video. I hope you have a scrapdangulous day. Later, skaters!